Hello and welcome to our Tuesday night live stream. I hope you're all doing well today. I'm sorry for being a little bit late. I was just rebooting my virtual servers to make sure they're all good to go so there aren't any more surprises during this live stream like we had last week. So let's check who's here. As usual, Grish was in. I think I had scheduled the stream early, and before I could even share it with anybody else, he had already commented that he was here. So I don't know how you do it, Grish, but you do every week. Joe is here, which is he was second, and then Eric was also here before everybody else, and 20 people would be pretty cool. I don't feel like we're gonna get 20 people here, but I did notice that Keith had like 20 or 19 earlier, so that's pretty cool. Jeremy's here. At least he was earlier. I think it's Michael. Is here. Good to see you. Bob's here. Welcome in, Bob. Grish is back watching the countdown. Nils is here. No, I did not kill the network. So this is a reference to I shared out the stream in the Aaron Parecki Discord channel, and I had commented that while I had thought about it, I didn't do it, but I had thought about redoing my network live, taking the whole thing down, and that's what Aaron Parecki kind of did this weekend on his stream, but I thought better of it, so that's why Nils commented that so he did kill the network because I considered it, but I'm not going to do that. But we are, speaking about what we are going to do tonight, we're going to quickly revisit Minio. I did set up an HA proxy front end, and then I got the metrics to show up using Prometheus, and then briefly touch on XCP-NG and where we stand with it, and then we're going to go look at this thing, which is a Netgate, upside down, but a Netgate SG-1100. I'm going to try to configure it to run my network, and I'm going to try it out and see how well it works as the firewall router for my network. So far, not so good. This is a very special router in terms of it's not your normal network ports inside. So we'll get to that later, and we'll see if we can actually make it work. It is currently not in line anywhere, so it's not going to break anything, but we can test it and see if it's possible to set up the VLANs like I want it to. And if not, then this thing will go back and to its owner, and basically I will move on, and we'll see maybe what else will work for our my router firewall thing. And some of you probably have an idea where I'm going with this because I messaged you earlier about it. Some of you might be surprised what I'm considering. I don't know. We'll see what happens. That was what they call a tease in the business. So, yeah, Grish is here. Keith is still going. Yeah, I noticed that. Sorry, Keith. Grish does appear to be superhuman at times. I will say that. He just went to YouTube and it was there. David is here. Welcome in, David. Jeremy is back, working on his notes for midweek news. 116, wow. That's awesome. Yeah, Jeremy, you get a day off. That's good, and I am also looking for a follow-up on that other thing that you talked about. Just curious where that stands. Oh, you have to work outside. Well, that makes sense. I guess it's not as it's not as good a day off as I thought it might be. Oh, so Jeremy says the hiring manager for the other opportunities out of the country this week. Well, I guess it's good that he's off enjoying, hopefully on vacation, comes back and all nice and relaxed for a good interview. So let's look at Minio first. If you were here last week, which I think all of you were, you remember we set up a cluster and had it talking back and forth, which is great, but there was no front end for it, and basically like a load balancer, if you will. And so if you look at, so one of the things I set up off air, if you will, is a HA proxy. So now if I go to HA proxy, and I did not make it secure, which is why it's failing, you will see that HA proxy now forwards to Minio. Now, this Minio instance could be any of the four. I don't know which one it is, but it doesn't really matter because they're all the same. So here I am going to HA proxy, and I'm getting to one of the Minio servers. If you come down to monitoring and metrics, you will see the same thing we saw before, which is, all four running. But this time, I have statistics. For example, this is what the usage is right now. Gives me some information on object size and receive and send rates, traffic. Obviously, I haven't really used this server a whole lot, so there's not a whole lot of traffic on it, but you can see where this would be useful if you had this set up. Here's some resource usage, memory, CPU. I don't know why these two are empty, but they are. And some other statistics. So this was actually a little bit more difficult to set up than I had originally thought it was going to be. You actually have to spin up Prometheus, which I had never heard of before, but we can quickly kind of walk over that or go over that. So let me call up my command line. So basically what I had to do was I had to spin up Prometheus, which is some sort of data program, and then in here I had to point it to the Prometheus instance running, which I just put it on this first node. But you have to do a couple things before that you can get to that working. The first being you have to download the Minio tool, basically called MC, and you can get that from their website, and then you move it to the user bin. Then you have to set an alias. So one of the things so one of the things you can do here, or in this list, is aliases, and you can see that I have basically I have Minio01 is listed as an alias. Localhost would have worked if I would have set it up correctly, but either way, you basically make it an alias, and then you can generate a Prometheus code, which will then you can paste into the YAML, and basically this is what allows Minio to scrape, or to have Prometheus scrape the statistics. It's kind of a weird setup. Like Minio tells somebody else to scrape. It's weird. I'm not 100% sure how it works, but basically you point it at each other and it does work. And so here you see it's pulling in cluster metrics It is only using V2, which I guess Minio is on V3 now, so technically speaking, that's probably why a couple of those things don't work. But it was pretty straightforward. Once you get it working, it was not straightforward to make it work, which is kind of weird. But nonetheless, I do have this working now, and so now I have metrics, which is helpful, I guess, in a real world scenario. Not very helpful for what I need to do, but nonetheless, it's working, and that's the most important thing. Clear Life Media, Kurt is here. Welcome in. So, okay, Grish says Prometheus stores metrics in time. Yeah, so I don't know why Minio just doesn't do it. Itself, but it doesn't. So it's helpful. I mean, it is nice to helpful. Wow, it is helpful to have your metrics, especially on a big install. I'm sure that would be very helpful to see data. But it was really easy to do. Just not exactly straightforward the first time I did it. Why they name their tool MC? I think it's Minio client is what it stands for. It allows you to interact, like put files, get files, all kinds of stuff. It's their command line interface for their stuff. You can run updates via the MC tool. So the one thing I was going to basically, one thing I wanted to test was now, so now that we have Minio running in a cluster, we know we can take a server down. But one of the things I wanted to just try was, it says it's a multi-node, multi-drive cluster. So I was tempted, because we like to do things live here, to go in and actually remove a drive. And let's just say we lost a drive on, machines. Or can we actually only get away with having one drive? So this is probably going to break the crap out of it, but I somehow secretly think you all are here to see that happen. or so I've been told, that some of you are here just to see what the hell happens. So let's see if we can break it. So if I go over here, and this is the first instance, and I go back to my Minio config. Again, this is going to break it. I know it's going to break it. But basically, I want to redo this configuration and just go, okay, fine. It lost a drive. Only it lost a drive on every machine. You would never do this, obviously. This is simply me having fun at this point. So I'm going to go in and actually remove data 2. So it only has one drive. Still has 4 servers, but now only one drive per machine. And this is probably going to, like I said, going to break the crap out of it. And I forgot to do it the correct way. I always forget sudo. Shouldn't, but I always do. And so, again, we're going to come in here and remove data 2 drive. Now, the data is still there, obviously. We're just not going to reference it anymore. And then we're going to do system. Now, this is not going to work because the other ones are not configured the same way. So we have to go in here. And configure the same change everywhere. Oh wait, I think I did it wrong. I think I did start, not restart. Yeah, this is breaking already, I think. I figured it would. I just, curious. Yeah, so mismatched configurations, which is what I was assuming it was going to do. And this is probably where Grish or somebody is saying, well, this is where Ansible would be helpful, or insert some kind of tool that would make making these changes easier. And you're not wrong. Oh wait, I know what you gotta do. You gotta do reload, daemon, reload. Then you gotta do it. I think. Maybe not. That's actually, no, you don't need to do that. I'm wrong. Been wrong a lot today. So now that we have, oops, come on. I think it's truly broke now. I don't think there's any way to come back from it. I think it's gone. Not really, but because I said the data's still there. I didn't actually delete anything. I just told it not. I did notice when I built this thing a while back that it doesn't like to come up different times, or at least it didn't used to. So I am curious if so now that we've done this, yep, it broke because I don't think. In theory, it's changed everywhere, but I don't think it likes it. Start request failed too. Oh, that's interesting. What if we just do this? Oh, then I forgot to show you one cool thing about HA proxy that I forgot to show you. That's the wrong button. So under HA proxy, I enabled stats. Right? Is it stats? No. It's a different port, I think. Crap. What is it? It's so this is the HA proxy. It's 8404 is the page. That's what I forgot. 8404. So this is the stats page for HA proxy, and it'll actually tell you what servers are up. This is how it knows how to do the load balancer. And you see I rebooted all of them, so they're all down right now. Hi, honey. Grish, I have no idea what's going on. Yeah, basically, Nils is right. We're turning it off and on again. So, Grish, basically, I removed a hard drive from every machine and then rebooted them all just to see what would happen. Because in my scenario, not the work scenario, but basically my thought is like amongst friends, you may not want to devote 2 drives every machine because let's say you're doing like a 16 terabyte drive trying to get the most storage possible, to give everybody 16 terabyte, or make everyone buy 2 terabyte drives, 16 terabyte drives, that is, what that may be more than people want to do. So I was thinking, if you were building this cluster yourself, you could just do 1 drive in each node if it works. I don't think it's going to work, but that's at least the theory. That's what we're testing right now, I should say. Is, can you do a cluster with only 1 drive in each machine? And I think the answer is no. Based on that, none of them are coming back. They're all still down. Which is what I feared, or figured. With a valid configuration, that's the key. Oh no, where are you going? Things are just getting good. We're breaking stuff. So yeah, so it doesn't like that. I figured it didn't, but I thought I wanted to give it a shot. I didn't think it would actually work that way. Could also be that we needed that from the beginning. But oh well, like I said, it was fun to see if it'd break, and it did. Like we said, I think you guys are here to see things break. So now that once we get this up and running again, then I can show you the stats page for HA proxy. And look, there's no errors that time. Imagine that. So if we go over to the HA proxy page, now you can see that 3 of the nodes are online, and of course the 4th one is not. And if I go back to here, this let me in. Here you can see that this one's offline. And again, I'm only using this address. So this address doesn't care which ones are down, which ones are not. It knows. And therefore, it'll always work. So if you were writing data to this, you would be able to write data here, and it would always be the same URL no matter what. So I think that's pretty cool. That's one of the reasons why I thought this whole thing would be fun to play around with, and have the the ability to write data to one place and have it go to multiple places redundantly, high availability, all that. So that's why I went down this road of Minio, to see what is possible. Obviously, there's a lot more configuration involved, a lot more security that needs to be done, because there's just no security on that whatsoever right now, other than a really bad password. So, any questions about Minio before we go on to the next part of this? I guess I should probably fix Minio 4 just so that we're back up to normal. And if you go back to the stats page, they're all green now. So this is pretty cool. I did think this was interesting that the current version of HA proxy is still old, at least on Debian. Not sure why. wait. Am I on version? Am I on still on 11 Debian 11? No, I'm on 12. I don't know why, because this lists some newer versions here. This is definitely old. So Nils says, why are there two drives anyway? Has that something? Yeah, I'm assuming it's the way the erasure coding works. It really wants two drives per node, and I believe it wants 4 nodes. I think you can technically do it with only 3. Well, we saw it only with 3 working. So I think it needs 3 nodes to work minimum. It wants 4, and then it has 2 drives per node, I think, for redundancy. If you only have 3 nodes and one of them goes down, you lose the ability to do anything. Like you can read, but you can't write. So I think that their high level of redundancy that they expect means you have to have 4 nodes and 2 drives so that any node could lose a drive, or you could lose an entire node and the system keeps working perfectly. You can write, you can add, you can do whatever you want to do. So they basically, I think, from what I've gathered, just built in that n+1, like you need the +1, that you cannot do a system without it unless you want to live on the edge. So they're just basically building in that redundancy, like you have to have it, because they're not going to do a system that doesn't have redundancy, is the way I understand it. We are techno folks, but harmless. Well, most of us. Glad you made it in. So like I said, any questions about Minio? Obviously, we were able to break it a little bit. We broke the whole thing, actually. But I kind of figured that was going to happen, so that's not really a failure. That was kind of a designed test. Well, I think Joe's the exception about every rule there is, pretty much. So, XCP-NG, I guess we'll move on. As you remember, probably from last week, I was doing an upgrade to the server. We are now fully up to date on our XCP-NG. We're on 8.3. Both of them are updated. Both of them are running. The thing about 8.3 that is nice is the PCI pass-through. And if you come down here to PCI devices, you see you could pass through all kinds of things. Like you could pass through individual NICs and SATA controllers and whatnot. The one thing that is not in this list, which I did discover, is the black magic cards that I'm using to do chat. But if you come over here to OBS, which is the virtual machine that I'm using, it has the card. So, and it doesn't list it here, even though it's set up for it. So I did file on the XCP-NG forums an issue/request that they incorporate the black magic cards in this list for PCI pass-through. I know that's probably very rare and that like most people are not going to need that, but I thought, hey, you know, if you're going to pass through everything else and you can do it via command line, why not do it in the GUI? And so if you see on host 2, here are the two cards that are here's the black magic card that is going to the other OBS machine, and it's totally capable of passing it through via the command line. It just doesn't want to do it via the GUI, and I think that's a slight. I mean, it's not an overlook, it's not a mistake, but basically, it's something that I think they should fix because maybe somebody else wants to do this. I don't know. I mean, I will say that it is interesting that in my experimenting with it so far, on the second box with a newer Decklink card, it seems to be a little bit more reliable than the old Decklink card I'm using right now. So I'm guessing that based on what I know from my day job and some of the stuff they're doing there, that the newer Decklink cards handle PCI pass-through better, because in certain instances they're being passed through virtual machines to get, hosts to get to virtual machines. In one instance, our encoders actually that make the signal you see at home, they basically pass through ASI cards, which ASI is a form of SDI. It's compressed video, but it's at the same rate that SDI operates. So you can use a lot of SDI ports, and like DAs and whatnot will handle ASI because it's the same clock. So in order to make a signal and use the hardware that's in this virtual machine, they do pass through, and the manufacturer of the encoder actually had to write drivers for that card to work in VMware because virtual machine servers typically don't have these customized cards that broadcasters and people want to use. So I just think if XCP-NG can support that, then that's one more step up that it has over other platforms. Back to PCI pass-through. Interesting that XCP-NG is now equal in version to the latest version of Proxmox. Oh, they're on 8.3 as well? Oh, the 60-second summary of Minio. Okay. So, Minio is basically a self-hosted or open source S3 system like Amazon has for, S3 storage. So Minio allows you to run your own S3 distributed storage. And so if you look here, on my host, I have 4 servers, Minio 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1 and 2 are on host 1, 3 and 4 are on host 2. And as long as 3 of these 4 servers are up, I can write files and make buckets and do whatever I want. Like I can upload a file here, and I can, download files and do whatever I need to do here. And I can make a bucket, and it works. And basically, it's replicating that data around to all 4 of these nodes. Now, in theory, these nodes would not be in the same server. They'd be physical servers, maybe in different racks, different data centers, whatever it is. And so it's distributed file storage in the form of S3. And it's highly resilient because it's distributed around multiple drives across multiple hosts. So that would be your, hopefully that was 60 seconds, give or take. So yes, so basically we did the Minio thing. We briefly talked about it. I know it was a short topic, but I thought it would be interesting to just kind of touch base on the Zen Orchestra or XCP-NG. I also did want to show, for those who haven't seen it, the XO Lite, which is their new thing they're doing. This is basically the one that is built in. So, Jeremy, I know Proxmox has unreachable. Oh yeah, this is stupid. Advanced, yes. Now it'll work. So this is XO Lite, and from what I gather, it's actually a web page hosted. Sorry, it's a web app hosted at Vates, and so when you access this URL, I think it actually goes out and grabs the app. And basically, this is a light version of Zen Orchestra that runs on the host that you can do things with. So you don't need to install Zen Orchestra. This used to be basically XO Center or X Zen Center, I think is what it was called. I forget now. And basically, this is a web app version that allows you to see your host, see your virtual machines, all kinds of statistics in a nice, pretty way. I believe this is what Zen Orchestra is moving towards. And so here you can see my host. You can get console access to the host. You can get console access to the virtual machines. In theory, you can start these and whatnot, and see some stats, or at least you'll be able to eventually. Right now, some of these pages don't work. In fact, most of them don't look like they work. But you can take snapshots and, and the one thing I thought was interesting was their little link to the Zen Orchestra forgets the C, and I don't know why it gets rid of, the URL doesn't work. But either way, I believe it does support dark mode. So there you go, Jeremy, because you're probably going to like dark mode. It does have dark mode. But yeah, so that's what I wanted to show off about that, just to kind of go over it. To summarize last week's thing. So, yes, Nils says, it's all coming soon. Yeah, they're working on it. Who knows how long it'll take. There are parts of the new interface I think are cool. There are parts of the interface I'm like, they're in a way they're kind of copying Proxmox, at least by the look of the feel of it a little bit. I'm not sure if that's the best move, but whatever. But it did feel a little bit Proxmox-ish. Okay, so Joe says, looking forward to PSN, so we'll get to that next. David, I step away. Your retinas, thank you. Yes, I knew you would like dark mode. Yes, Zen Orchestra is moving towards the design, but it won't replace, obviously, the full-featured VM. But I believe they are looking to make the interfaces more congruent, if not the same. XO Lite is designed to be on the machine. It can obviously talk to other machines in the pool, but it's designed to be the local version. It runs on the host. So yes, it's very much the local client, kind of like they used to have back in the day, where you could run the application on your Windows machine and control it, which is how I first started. I actually had the Windows machine, talk to the host, and then I had it build the machine, or build a Zen Orchestra web page machine, and then I could get rid of the PC version and just use the web page. So, all right, so now we move on to pfSense. And as you know, I like pfSense. My current pfSense machine is about 9 years old. No joke. It's an old desktop PC. I put a 10 gig network card in it. It does what I want to do, but we've just been having weird issues with our Wi-Fi and internet. We replaced the ISP with a fiber ISP, and we're still having issues. And I have to take a cough for a second. Um, so obviously the fiber ISP has been great. We're still having issues. The Wi-Fi is a Unify AP. Is it APAC? I forget what it is. It's a relatively, I guess at this point, old access point, but it's still working. And so I'm not sure if it's the access point or if it's the 9-year-old router. So I am borrowing a little box, a little Netgate box, and I'm basically just seeing what it can do. The problem with these, which I've come to realize, is the ports on the back. They're not really dedicated ports. They're basically the same chip. They're just shared. And this creates an issue because they're just VLANs on the same chip. So if we go over, oops, got to plug my cable in now. So if I go over to nope, that's the wrong address. Oh, great. Now it's going to make me a freaking liar. Come on. What do I... Oh, I probably need to do something else. Does it work now? What did I do? Should be working. Worked earlier. Hold on. This thing actually has a serial port, which I think is hilarious. All right, so there's the... It's obviously running, but it's not getting an IP address. So I have these little tools that are command lines that will basically change the IP address on a LAN port pretty fast. And they're not working either. What the hell is going on? Why did it change? It changed the Ethernet driver, apparently. There we go. Now it works. So let's try this again. Why does this not work? Oh, wait. No. This was working earlier. I don't know what the hell the deal is. Okay, this is dumb. On now. Internet 2, or Ethernet 2. Edit. Seriously? This is stupid. Here you can see it has, I was playing around with this earlier, and obviously it was working. What is going on? Did I plug the ports in correctly? Yes, I did. Nope, that won't work either because that one's not assigned. Well, this is going swell. What is going on with... Oh, hold on. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. I think I'm getting confused between the Wi-Fi and the physical NIC. I think it's getting very confused. Nope. Please stand by while we try to reset it again. This worked before. And now it's Ethernet 5 again. What the hell? Why does it keep changing the name of the damn NIC? First it's 2, or first it's 5, then it's 2, then it's back to 5. And my little scripts don't like it when you change the name because, well, it doesn't work when you change the name. Hey, look at this. Finally. Jeez, that was way more difficult than it should have been. Way more. So, finally, after what took way too long, that would have been a good idea. Yes, so basically, this is PFSense, and underneath here, we actually have switches. Because the whole thing is one Marvell switch. And it has ports. And it has the 3 VLANs. Yes, they are VLANs coming off of that switch. And there is no switch 0. Like, there's no port 0. You can't like plug into port 0. It doesn't exist. I mean, it does inside, but not physically. So you're only given ports 1, 2, and 3, and they carve them off as VLANs. And I don't know why they do them in this order, because it's kind of the opposite of the ports, but whatever. So then if you look at VLANs, it has 0, and then it has these other VLANs. And this is the problem that I'm having with right now, is I want to add my home VLANs, because I have several of them, and I'm trying to add them to the switch. So I added VLAN 440, which I call the TV network, which is what this whole table and desk are plugged into. And I assigned it, at least based on what I understand, to be ports 0, because everything has to be part of 0, and it should be the untagged port number 2. And the LAN now, which is what I was just playing around with, is also port 2, but it should be tagged. Now, under your DHCP server, the LAN has addresses of 1 is the third octet, and the TV network is 4. Ignore this, I was just playing around. But as you could tell, I'm plugged in and connected on the 1 subnet, which based on this, oops, wrong one. To me, should be impossible, because VLAN 2 or this VLAN should be tagged on this port, and the untagged ports should be VLAN 440, but that's not working. So I am getting incredibly frustrated because I can't figure out how to make the default LAN on this port be this new VLAN I made. If that makes any sense. So, and I watched Tom Lawrence's video on how to do this, and that was obviously an older version, and the software has changed this, because now when you go in here, you have to make it, there's different columns. Before, you just did a comma separated thing. Now you have to like assign it to different members, and I don't know why. Based on my understanding, this VLAN 440 should be the default network on this port, and it's not. And this is confirmed by looking here. That you can see they're here, they show up, but they're not coming out the switch correctly, which makes no sense to me. Because in theory, I can have 5 VLANs come out the same port. It shouldn't matter. And yet, boy, it really seems like it is. Something I haven't done this via the command line here. I guess I could try it here. This isn't going to change what I want. No. Yeah, no, this isn't going to do what I want it to do, but shit. This is not going to do. It's fine. Yes. Fine. I also will say that I'm a little shocked at how just kind of slow this box is. Like, it doesn't want to respond very fast, which obviously it's just a little ARM processor, but I would have thought it'd been better than this. So if you look at my DHCP server now, oops, wrong one, TV. It clearly took this, so it's taking the changes from this. I can just delete this. This is stupid. But yeah, like I said, it's not handling the switch very, very good. Um, Definitely not DNS this time. Yes, so Tom Lawrence does have a video about this, but the version has changed and does not behave the same way. He literally, in the video, like, I think under switches, VLANs, or no, ports. Shit, now I forget where. He was literally going here and having, like, under his, it was all comma. So it'd be like 0 tagged, 2 tagged, you know, whatever it was. And then it would break it. So this is, it's, doesn't let you do that anymore. Now it's breaking out like this. But yes, I'm starting to fully understand this comment. That, yeah, this is definitely not what I was hoping for. I mean, I guess at 100 and whatever bucks, can't be surprised. But yet I was hoping for more. I don't know if that makes sense. So, yes. So, to get on this topic, I saw that Unify released a whole bunch of, at least looked like a whole bunch of new stuff today, and their new Unify fiber. Their new fiber. Oh, what is it called? Gateway, yeah, this thing. This cloud gateway fiber just is crazy impressive. Like, I mean, where's the ports? Is there a better view of the ports? There should be a. Seriously? Well, that's just stupid. Come on, Unify. So it's got 4 2.5 gig NICs. It's got a 10 gig RJ45 and 2 10 gig SFP plus ports. And it's less than $300. Like, oh, and it's PoE. And it could be your NVR. And it's your cloud controller. Like, holy crap. I mean, I'm honestly thinking about getting one of these just because Netgate wants to go to the next level. So I'm not buying this crappy little box. It's $349. That's substantially different pricing. I mean, I just mind-boggling. Yes, the next step up to 2100 obviously can handle higher speeds. But I'm pretty sure it's the same Is it the same NIC or same? Um, yeah, if you look at the if you look at this, these are the same CPUs. So if you step up to the next level pfSense router, it's still the same CPU. Now, it claims a lot more, a higher speed, but I'm not sure how it's getting that. I mean, it's not sharing. I don't know if list here. Yeah, it's this is 3 switch ports on a 1 gigabit thing, and these are independent. So these are on a 2.5 gigabit switch versus the 1. So I mean, I guess that's why you're getting your speed changes. But honestly, at this price versus this, I mean, come on. I wonder how what pfSense compares to the GLINet. GLINet makes some good boxes, from what I gather. I mean, I have one of them. I'm not sure where I put it. But the GLINet boxes are good. They run OpenWRT in the background. I haven't seen any issues with them, but then again, I'm also not using them as my main router. Eric says, get the Unify. Yes, Unify has come a long way. That is absolutely true. They are crazy. They've come a long way. Grish, they just need custom QoS support. Oh, Unify needs QoS support in IPv6? Or are you talking about MikroTik? I think you're talking about Unify. Yes, I've heard MikroTik's interface is not very good. You have to depend on scripts? Well, that's no good. Oh, okay, you're talking about Unify. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this going, well, shit. I mean, this box will do PoE, and from what I was gathering, I watched like 2 videos today, and they said that these don't have to be WAN ports. They're labeled WAN ports, but in the software you can change them to be other things. And if that's the case, then I could literally make this RJ45 port my 10 gig for my NAS, because it doesn't have SFP plus, but both my virtual servers do. So I literally could have both my virtual servers plug in via 10 gig SFP plus. I could have my NAS plug in 10 gig copper or RJ45. I could plug in my 500 megabit per second ISP here, plug the rest of my network in here, and then I would still have 2 ports that I could use to plug in access points and get PoE from. So, yeah. I mean, at this point, this thing makes way more sense for me. And then I would need to get new Wi-Fi. And I could, honestly, I could probably just come down here and get 2 new U6 pluses. I don't really need crazy good Wi-Fi. I mean, I need good Wi-Fi. I don't need like long range Wi-Fi. So, I mean, yeah, like if I come down here and got 2 of these, and then I could add this, and I already have I already have an NVMe or an NVMe drive I could use. So we could add that, and I could already use that. So now we look at my cart, and if I do, let's just have fun. So for $556, I could have a new router and new Wi-Fi, and I'm only $200 more than one router by itself. I'm having a hard time justifying staying with that. And hell, we could go crazy. What if I just bought don't they have where's their 24? Don't they have like a cheap 24 port switch? Standard 24. Yeah, so I mean, I could replace my whole network. Yeah. That should be enough. So for $781, I could literally, now I have to do this actually. For $762, could get the new Cloud Gateway Fiber, plug in the 3 things that are 10 gig, plug in my 2 access points to the PoE ports, take the switch 24 and plug it into the Cloud Gateway, and I've replaced my entire network with brand new stuff on one unified plane. I mean, gosh, it doesn't seem like that. Just seems like a really good deal. And if I wanted PoE for the other switch, other port, I could always jump up to. Oh no, that's more expensive. That's significantly more expensive. See, that's the problem. These switches get kind of expensive fast. I don't really need those. Yeah. So I was looking at this I was considering this too, because I want to put an access point in my garage, and I want to power it over PoE, and I want to pass the PoE through to the access point, and possibly power a camera. The thing I would be a little bit weird about is that I don't really want to go with Unify for cameras, but this price, I'm almost tempted to. So, wow, I really missed chat for a second. Holy crap. So, okay. Where am I going? You will love the pretty unified graphs. I have, like I said, I have Unify. I have one access point here, and I have the Flex Mini. Yeah, the original Flex Mini. In there, I use it as a little portable switch when I need to go someplace. They are pretty. They're nice, pretty nice. Yeah, Unify has done some marketing work, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, looking at yeah, I mean, today was kind of like I was like, whoa, 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 how much was that? Because I was watching. I never watch Mac Telecom or Crosstalk. Like I just don't watch them because I'm not a Unify fanboy, like they are. But I watched both their videos because there was in the feed. I was like, whoa, okay, hold on, now I'm interested. Like, and I watched their video and they said the price and I was like, you got to be kidding me. I actually thought about you and Tony today when I saw this. I'm going, I know they're going towards Grandstream, but man, Unify has me going this way. So, yeah, I was shocked. Um, yes, I mean, there are obviously reasons to go with various things. If you want built-in phone functionality, you're that's definitely Grandstream is the way to go for that. Do a new video on the Unify product, actually get thousands of views. Boy, I shouldn't I? Welcome in, Ernesto. Good to see you. I still have a 24 port PoE switch waiting to be installed. Well, I would, get that unboxed and install it. I was never a Unify Protect guy, but after trying it with the new cam, UI and AI, I'm about to rip out my. Wow. That says a lot. Oh, they support OnVIF now, don't they? Because I got this for Christmas, and I was gonna put this up, and needed to find a way to plug this thing in. The one thing I don't know, I haven't actually pulled out of the box yet. The one thing I don't know about this camera is what it needs for power, because I was gonna plug it into my. Oopsie. What is that? I was gonna plug it into my Flex Mini, or I was gonna see if it works on my Flex Mini. This is interesting. Yeah, so this camera I wanted to use for my outdoor stuff, and I was really thinking about plugging this in, and if I could power this off of the switch, in my attic, it'd make a lot more sense than trying to find power up there. Now, I was smart and I put in a power outlet up there when I redid the garage. But if I don't have to use the power outlet, I would prefer not to. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to know what kind of power this takes. If it says somewhere. Unfortunately, my thing is over there, so I can't exactly. I guess I could go run and grab it, but I want to know what kind of PoE it takes. Yeah. But basically, yeah. I mean, so like, and now I'm starting to wonder if this thing, this Rio Link, will work with Unify, because if it does, one more reason to go towards that. I mean, geez. Um, Perfect for the $30 up cameras I don't trust. Yeah, no, I've always heard good things about the Unify cameras and the Unify systems. The Rio Link is passive. Well, that actually would make that actually be good, because the original Flex, I think, is passive. Is it not? No. And I have to go. Let me just go try it. I'll be right back. All right. So this cable comes from a PoE injector. Oh, did I plug it in wrong? I must have. All right, so there we go. So here you can see that's working. So now if I plug in to the camera, the camera does not light up. Even though this is supposed to be, I thought this did PoE pass through, but maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it's only PoE in. Oh, that would suck. So now I need to definitely get a new Mini. I thought this... Maybe the new ones do PCI pass-through. Or PCI... I'm still stuck on XCP-NG. Maybe the new ones do PoE pass-through, but this one does not, apparently. It's PoE powered, but not pass-through, so... Forget that idea. The PoE inserter does power the camera, though. So that's something. But yeah, so, yeah, I mean, why did that break? Oh. Sorry, chat broke for a second because I unplugged the cable that was plugged into it. There we go. Friend of mine recently did a unified doorbell announces. That's pretty cool. David has Real-Link cameras. It is a bold statement from you. The Unify Protect app, is that what you're referring to? Just want to clarify. I forgot to play music. I need to redo my cough button so that when I do the cough button, it plays the other music. That actually be really easy to do. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't think this model does pass through at all. This is the USW Flex Mini. That's hugely important. Because while you may be crazy, you ain't stupid, and the wife's approval factor is a huge thing. So, destroying connections to live chat. So yeah, I guess to go back to the Unify thing, I would need to get... Where's the Flex Mini? See, this is the one I have. PoE in, and then they're just regular ports. Oh, that's what I thought. That's what I was just seeing. So, the Flex Mini will not work for my attic. I would need to go... I think it's this one. Yeah, so I would need to go up to the Flex in order to be power out. Still not bad. So if we look at my cart now, Well, I wouldn't need this though because I already have these would be coming off of. Well, no, this would be one would be coming off of this, coming off of yeah, it'd be daisy chain. But um, damn, that's crazy. I need to grab a screenshot of that because this is. We may have to actually have a conversation about this. Um, wow. I mean that's just mind-boggling. I mean to replace my whole entire network for $851. I don't technically need this because I have switches, but I mean, geez. So let's just say I didn't replace that. Now you're down to you still need I would still need this. I'm gonna spend this anyway for a new router. Damn. And this is just pissing me off. I don't know why this doesn't work. This should absolutely freaking work. I get it's not what I want or what I need long term, but it was going to be a test and it still should freaking work. So, um, I'm only crazy on YouTube and Signal. Somehow I don't know if I believe that. Your Netgate 6100? Yeah, what is that thing? What was that? You bought that thing a while ago. Yeah, it's more expensive. Or, I mean, I guess it depends on. Yeah, that's crazy. It's a cool box, though. I mean, that's a pretty powerful box. But yeah, that's kind of ridiculous when you look at all that. I mean, I just to me that oops that unit that fiber device they released today, it just that thing should cost at least in my based on PF pricing, that thing should cost like twice as much. And the fact that it's cheaper, even not even the same price, it's cheaper. Like, come on. At some point, the battle isn't necessary, but I do not want to be beat by a white box. Unify does offer that. I did see that. Yeah, I'm starting to really get that. Like, and I also feel like they want the monthly payment now to get the latest software updates, and to me that's BS because in theory it's open source software. So why are you putting it behind a support contract and a continual price? Like, I don't want to pay you yearly for software updates. You're open source, like, or at least you were theory based on open source. So why are you charging me for products again? It's like Ubuntu when they wanted you to go pay for their thing or register for their software updates. I'm like, you're supposed to be open source. Why are you now limiting my access to get the updates that you've made that is based off open source? Like I mean, and I know they're not exactly the same thing, but to me, it's a big. Sorry about that. Wow. Um, Yeah, it's just kind of annoying. You know, like I understand companies need business models. I know they need to make money. They need to survive. They need to pay developers. I'm not arguing any of that. But like you sell hardware, that's part of your business model. You sell support, like that's your business model. You're now going to charge for updates as well when Unify doesn't and they're your competitor. That's not going to work for you very well or very long term. Uh, yeah. Um, Eric says, I kind of like the idea of a company that maintains the app, also selling the hardware. Yeah, no, I mean, I've been a huge supporter of pfSense, but it's becoming harder for me to support them when they want you to buy their hardware, and it's nowhere near as good as Unify, who gives me free software updates. Here's the thing: Netgate, no ecosystem. Unify figures if they get you started, you won't stop. That's true. No, I get their model, and I think they're right. I mean, there are whole YouTube channels devoted to Unify. People go Unify for their whole system at their house. I mean, I get it. You're right. And when you're right, when you're right, you're right. Take one sip of the Kool-Aid. Yeah, believe me, I'm thinking about it. That's for sure. Grish says I still run pfSense, but only because I rely on some policy routing and QoS to deal with my LTE connection. I mean, I always liked the ability to customize pfSense. You know, we were talking about FRR on Jeremy's stream, I think it was on Sunday night. You know, having the ability to do BGP routing or play with BGP routing is awesome, but how often do you actually need that or use that versus how often do you need a system that just works? Um, yeah, I don't know. And before you could make the argument that the firewall rules were atrocious, um, and they were, but now under 9, they seem to make a lot more sense, and they're um, applicable to more people. You know. Hold on. Sorry about that. I'm really dry. Unify the brand IT. You're yeah. I definitely see that. Um, the one other thing that I didn't like so much, and I think this is more of a Aaron issue versus or you know whatever, is when Aaron Parecki tried to multicast the other day on his Unify network, he ran into a bunch of problems using 2110 gear, and when I tried to do AES-7 and PTP here, I was running into the same issues on my Cisco stuff, and I really do want to get AES-7 working, and so I'm a little bit hesitant to go to a platform if it's not going to support PTP and multicasting, which is what Unify says they support, but it didn't seem like it worked. So I'm not sure if this was an Aaron problem or if this was a Unify problem. It could be that Aaron didn't have the right settings. We were playing with settings, or he was trying to play with settings and then had to go. So I'm assuming he could figure it out and get it right, and then it'd be great. But I kind of want to see it happen first, you know, like before I go invest money. But then again, what I have right now isn't working, so it's kind of hard to, you know, say let's go over here, and because this will solve it if it doesn't work here or there, you know. Um, Please don't feed the ego of The other thing is they play to the non-IT. You don't. Well, yeah, that's very true. I wouldn't go. I wouldn't say that. No, that was kind of what I was getting at. I don't know if you were there on Sunday, but that was kind of what I was thinking. Like there is pro AV mode on, like you have to enable that on the ports. At least that was what I was reading, and then you have to make sure that multicast doesn't go, you know, everywhere because not everything supports that. Um, your PTP could be on its own network switch separate from Unify. Your production network is mostly Netflix. Let's be real. My production network is mostly Netflix. I don't know. Oh, you like, yeah. Well, we don't actually have Netflix, but I get your point. um, so yeah, I guess. Yeah, I get your. I don't know. So any more questions, comments? I think I'm. Well, I still want to see. I still want to get that net. This not Netflix. Now I'm saying Netflix like crazy. Um, hold on. And I broke chat somehow. There it goes. Um, you're right. I mean, ultimately, it could be a separate network. Um, I was hoping that wasn't be the case, but it could be. So I'm gonna revisit this real quick just to see if I can make this PF thing makes sense. um, come on. Boy, does it take a long time to boot. This thing is not very fast. Moving up to a /19 for our production systems. Wow. What is that like? That's over 1,000. Is that 4,000 devices? I forget my subnet. um, So if I'm set for DHCP, am I set for DHCP? No, I'm not. All right, so here you can see I am now DHCP'd into this thing. So I'm on the untagged network. Oh, it's 8,000 hosts. Okay. Yeah, I always love when people. I always love when people do a /16 and only have 200 hosts. My church does that. I think they have a. I think they're a /16, and I'm like, everything's on the same network. And when you do a scan on your phone, like I did the other day, you see like everything. You can't access it, so they obviously have some sort of access control list, but you can see everything. It's very confusing. So now I'm forwarding. It's got to be here. So let's Netgate 1100. Security manual. Look at that. What a concept. Configuring as an additional LAN. Here we go. We go to assignments, look at our current thing, pick an available interface. We already did that. Already did that. Don't care about outbound NAT rules. How do you add it to the freaking port? Did I just miss over this whole thing? Interfaces assign. TV. It's enabled. Interface configuration. Already did that. How do you do the ports? That's what I want to know. Configuring the switch ports. Here we go. Yeah, I would say /16's room to grow. We have 20 different systems that get plugged together in different ways each time, so it has to work together. Well, that makes sense. You have 20 line arrays, or sorry, 100 boxes. $20 subs, 50 tops. Yeah, wow, that's cool. That'd be fun. I'd dig that. I was going to ask you what's your biggest show, because I'd love to see a picture of your biggest show. I run front of house at church. I actually ran it this weekend. All right, interfaces, switches, ports. Click on the port VID for optional. Oh, so you could change it that way, I guess. Is that what you gotta do? Change it here? Save. And I totally lost access to it, which tells me that it worked. If I unplug the cable, plug it back in, well, that didn't work. Of course it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Good thing I have serial control. Nope. Oh, it did work. It just took it a minute or two. And this won't work because I didn't actually configure the whole thing because I didn't even get this far. But now this should work. No, it wouldn't because I didn't actually configure the whole thing. Oh, I just locked myself out. Yay. Because I didn't actually follow the instructions because where I would have allowed it via the firewall rules. Crap. Okay. Can we get ourselves back in with this? I don't think I can. Assign interfaces. Because I want to change the switch, but there's no option in here to change the switch. Oh, crapazoid. Well, I guess we're going to be doing this. A for auto detection. Plug in the WAN. Hit enter. A. Enter. A. Plug in the WAN. Seriously? This is dumb. Oh, now I got a command prompt. Wow. Oh, boy. This thing is just something else. Oh, my God. promiscuous mode. What? Oh boy. Oh, it's rebooting. And my chat's broken, so I can't see what you're saying right now. Let me turn my Wi-Fi back on. Discord incoming. Okay. It was the official Dave Matthews cover band. Alrighty. Well, I think we figured out that I definitely can break the crap out of it, and as usual, I see pictures coming in. I will look at them in a second. But anyway, so I want to thank you all for being here. Hopefully you had fun. Hopefully you learned something, or at least had fun. I think I'm back next week. Yeah, I should be back next Tuesday because I should be back here next week. If not, I'll see you when I see you, but I should be back next week. You all have a good night. Take care.